Ever had a day that flipped your whole world upside down? Like 1 minute you're just trying to move some boxes, and the next minute you're in the middle of a crazy neighborhood war? Well, that happened to me. My first day at my new lake house when this HOA lady named Rita came screaming at me. She yelled, "This lake is mine, and you can't use it ever." Then she called the police on my moving truck. I thought maybe she was just having a bad day. But nope. What I found out next made me so angry. She had been stealing control of our lake for years using fake rules. And what happened after that? Let's just say when you mess with someone who knows how to read papers, karma comes back with badges and court documents. Trust me, this gets crazy. So picture this. Moving day was perfect. The sun was out, nice weather. Exactly how you want to start fresh somewhere new. I got a big truck, asked my friend to help, and everything was going great. The truck was sitting right by my new house, maybe taking up some of the road. But hey, where else do you put a giant truck on moving day? I thought any normal neighbor would understand. Well, I was wrong. Then came Rita, looking like she just walked out of a fancy TV show about mean rich ladies. Perfect hair, expensive sunglasses that cost more than my car payment, and this look on her face like I just kicked her dog. She marched over like she owned the whole street. She didn't say hello, didn't ask my name, just started yelling. "Who said you could park that ugly truck here? This is our special neighborhood, and you're making it look bad." I'm standing there holding a box of dishes, mouth wide open, trying to figure out how I suddenly became the bad guy. My friends just froze. It was like a scary animal showed up at our party. I tried to be nice, put down my box, used my sweetest voice. "Ma'am, I'm really sorry this is bothering you. I'm just moving my stuff. We'll be done in a few hours, and the truck will be gone." She didn't care at all. She already had her phone out calling 911, screaming about some big problem and how I was breaking rules with my truck. She made it sound like I was doing something terrible to the whole neighborhood. 15 minutes later, 2 police cars showed up. I could see the officers thinking, "Oh no, not her again." The older cop probably knew Rita already. He asked for my papers about buying a house, which I had ready because I'm not dumb. After looking at everything, he nicely asked if I could move the truck a little sooner just to keep everyone happy. Sure, no problem. I'm not going to fight with police over a moving truck. They turned to Rita and told her to stop wasting police time and drove away, probably hoping their next call will be less silly. As I watched Rita stomp back to her house, mumbling angry words, I realized this wasn't really about my truck or the street. This was about someone who thought she could control everything and everyone around her. She used the HOA rules and even the police like they were her personal toys. And let me tell you, she picked the wrong person to push around. That night, after my friends left and I calmed down, I couldn't sleep. Something about how Rita kept screaming, "private property," and "you can't do that," like she was some kind of sheriff in an old cowboy movie, really bothered me. So I did what any smart person would do. I looked through every paper from when I bought my house. The deed, HOA rules, neighborhood guidelines. I spread them all over my kitchen table like I was solving a mystery. The normal stuff was there. Keep your grass cut. Don't paint your house crazy colors. But the part about the lake? That got interesting. The HOA said they had special control over the lake, but the words were confusing on purpose. Nothing actually said they owned it, just that they manage it. Yeah, managed. That word always hides something sneaky. The next morning, I decided to talk to my neighbors. First was Walter, who lived 2 houses down, watering his tomato plants and looking like he'd seen everything. "Welcome to the neighborhood, kiddo," he said with a smile that told me not everyone here was crazy. We sat on his porch, and he told me stories about Rita that made my blood hot. How she had forced nice families to move away, called in complaints so much the city got tired of her. One couple had to leave because she kept calling inspectors to their house. But the thing that always bothered me, Walter said, talking quietly like he was sharing a secret, that lake used to be for everyone. Kids would swim there. Families would fish and have birthday parties. Then Rita became the HOA boss, and suddenly it was members only. Always seemed wrong to me. Then I talked to Jenny, a mom with 2 kids who lived across from the lake. She looked so sad when I mentioned the water. Rita banned my kids from playing on the beach. She said she'd call the cops if she saw them again. My little girl cried for weeks. She looked around to make sure no one was listening before telling me. Everyone's too scared to fight her. She knows important people in the city, knows the rule checkers. If you make her mad, she'll make your life terrible until you give up or move away. This was way bigger than just me and my moving truck. A few days later, things got even crazier. First, I got a letter saying I was in trouble. My grass was supposedly 2 inches too tall. $500 fine. Then new signs showed up around the lake. No fishing. HOA members only. Rule breakers will go to jail. And there was Rita in her little golf cart taking pictures of anyone who got near the water. The worst part? She put up a security camera pointed right at my front door. Not at the street, at my house. That's when I knew she had completely lost her mind, and it was time to dig deeper. I started checking official property records, state park websites, even federal land papers. And there it was, the smoking gun. The lake wasn't HOA property. It wasn't privately owned at all. It was state property managed by the Department of Natural Resources with guaranteed public access by law. Rita had been running a massive lie, using fake power to bully the whole neighborhood. Then, like magic, Rita announced a big lake party to show off our beautiful private lake, complete with a fancy banner and even a news crew. Perfect. I collected all my paperwork, called the state office, printed out every official document, and walked down to the party. Rita was giving a speech, sunglasses on, acting like the queen of the lake. That's when I stepped up with a megaphone. Hey, Rita, can you show everyone the papers that prove the HOA owns this lake? The crowd went silent. Rita screamed that I was trespassing, but her security was just her husband who looked like he wanted to disappear into the ground. I held up the documents, official ones with special stamps, not something you print from Google. This lake is public property owned by the state. She's been lying to all of you. People started pulling out their phones, looking things up online. The mood completely changed. Rita started babbling about conspiracies and plots. A dad in the crowd who sells houses said, "These papers are real." A woman looked up the state website. He's right. Suddenly, Rita's meltdown was being filmed by the local news reporter she had invited for her success story. When the police showed up, they told Rita SHE was in the wrong, and that stopping people from using public property was illegal. Some neighbors started crying. Some were laughing, and a few of Rita's old friends just looked embarrassed. The state sent someone to investigate the next day, and they started checking everything. It came out that Rita had been making neighbors pay money to use the public dock, collecting thousands of dollars, calling rule checkers on people, even reporting parents to child services just to scare them away from the lake. The state took away all the HOA's fake privileges, kicked Rita off the board, and made the neighborhood write a public apology. That night, I watched workers take down her private property signs one by one, while Rita just stood on her porch watching her whole fake world fall apart. But that wasn't the Yendi. Rita went completely crazy, putting flyers everywhere calling me a criminal, calling the cops on me every time I walked to the water, even spray painted my driveway. But the more she raged, the more proof she gave the state that she was out of control. Finally, after she called in one last fake police report, they arrested her. Watching that police car pull up felt like the ending to a long, ugly movie. 3 months later, the lake was alive again. Kids swimming, families having picnics, Walter run the HOA the right way, and Rita, she was like a ghost. I'd see her alone, walking by the water, getting smaller and sadder every week. All her power and showing off was gone. One night, I saw her slip on the rocks and fall into the water. She couldn't swim. In that moment, I heard my mom's voice in my head. "You're only as good as what you do when nobody's watching." I pulled her out. She cried, not because she was proud, but because she was sorry. The next week, she came to my front door, broken and honest. She'd lost her house, her job, her marriage, everything. And in that moment, all the anger I'd been holding just went away. I ended up writing a letter to the state asking them to give back the lake privileges under strict new rules, public access, real watching, and Rita could never be in charge again ever. They said yes, and told me my letter would be the new example for handling these problems. The neighborhood came together, old hurts healed, and even Rita sent me a letter from her new place thanking me for giving everyone, including her, a second chance. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Is being fair about punishing people, or is it about making things right for everyone? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I want to know how you feel about second chances, community, and what it really means to move forward when everything's been messed up